Good afternoon. Today I'm going to talk about meal planning, eating less processed foods, and planning a budget. Now, the pros and cons as far as eating out and eating in are pretty obvious. I mean, who likes cleaning up all those dishes and all that stuff? But there's a plus side, and that's your pocketbook. Meal planning, eating less processed food, and budgeting are easy steps that anyone can do to improve their budget and their waistline. So, being a busy mom on the go, I've learned some techniques that make sure that my family doesn't have to eat junk food as a last resort when we go places. I do that through meal planning. I try to take into consideration some of the places that we're going, things that we're doing, and nights that are busy. So I know the types of food to prepare. For instance, my son takes jujitsu. On those nights, we do a crock pot meal just because it cooks all day, it's available when we get home, and it's a lot easier and healthier for him to eat. The other thing that we do is we make sure that we plan for leftovers. For instance, let's say if I make spaghetti and meatballs one night, the next night we have meatball sandwiches. I've controlled what I put into the meatballs. I've controlled what I put into the sauce. So I know that it's healthy. Now when I go to the restaurant down the street, the Italian restaurant, the same exact meal that I've made for less than $2 a plate will cost us over $12 a plate. That's a huge savings to us. Something else too that strikes me, I grew up not really eating Hamburger Helper. My parents never really introduced us to any processed foods until we were a little bit older. But I can tell you that Hamburger Helper, the first time I had it, was so salty, I didn't understand how people could eat it. So one of the things to take into consideration is staying away from processed foods. That'll help you also. Processed foods tend to have a lot more ingredients in them that maybe you wouldn't like. That also goes the same with restaurant food. Now, I've worked in a restaurant, actually, a steakhouse, and the amount of oil that is used to cook your food is unbelievable. The oils, the butters, milk, whole milk usually, and cheeses are used to make that meal taste delicious, and that usually means going a little bit overboard. And of course, there's no portion control. So when you do cook at home, you can have portion control. It's very simple. One of the ways that I make sure that I'm keeping everything fresh and I'm not cooking the same things over and over again is you can go into a Google website, or you can search out meals and meal planning, and there are some terrific websites out there. All you have to do is type in meal planning, and you can also look for recipes on the websites too through your search engines. And you can keep planning and changing it up a little bit so it doesn't become boring. So, and also cooking ahead of time. Sometimes when I cook lasagna, I'll cook 2 lasagnas and I'll put one in the freezer. So if I need a quick meal, it's right there. So cooking ahead of time is also very helpful. Again, just a little bit of meal planning, eating less processed foods, and budgeting of your money will help you out tremendously. Just make sure that you're taking the time to do it. It'll save you time and, most importantly, money. And for me, it's the only way to go. I hope you've enjoyed this, and thank you so much for your time. Have a great afternoon.